on the Hawkeye Sports Network from Learfield. This is the Fight for Iowa podcast, brought to you by Athletico Physical Therapy, proud partner of the Iowa Hawkeyes and the Big Ten Conference. Hy-Vee, where there's a helpful smile in every aisle. Iowa's corn farmers of the Iowa Corn Growers Association and Iowa Corn Promotion Board. You may think Iowa grows corn, but the truth is, corn grows Iowa. Shields, we're right there with you in Des Moines, Sioux City, Iowa City, and Cedar Falls. University of Iowa Healthcare, changing medicine, changing lives. This is the Fight for Iowa podcast. Here's the voice of the Hawkeyes, Gary Dolphin.
Several weeks into winter conditioning workouts, Iowa football players are learning a number of new plays and new names. Most notably, quarterback Kade McNamara, the transfer from Michigan, and his Wolverine teammate, tight end Erick All, who likewise is now a Hawkeye. At this writing, Iowa has 9 transfer portal pickups, 8 offensive that hope to greatly assist a unit that struggled more often than not last season. Coach Kirk Ferentz and staff began organized staff meetings and analysis of every aspect of the program this week. Starting his 25th year as the game's most tenured head coach, Ferentz embraces the challenge of fixing the offense and notes McNamara gives the Hawkeyes a feel-good vibe to start with. Kirk Ferentz and quarterback Kade McNamara are in the huddle on this week's Fight for Iowa podcast. I'll be right back after a word from sponsors UIHC, Iowa Corn, Shields, and Athletico.
More of the Fight for Iowa podcast after this.
After a cancer diagnosis, it's natural to want to start treatment right away. But first, get a second opinion from a team that specializes in your cancer. I'm Dr. George Weiner, Director of University of Iowa Holden Comprehensive Cancer Center. Before you start treatment, you deserve to be confident you have the right diagnosis and know every option available to you. So whether it's with us or somewhere else, get a second opinion. It can change your care and your life.
Join Gary Dolphin and Bobby Hansen for Hawk Talk with Fran McCaffrey each week at the Hyatt Regency Hotel in Coralville. Hawk Talk is 90 minutes of discussion about Iowa basketball. Check out HawkeyeSports.com for more information.
Hey everyone, I'm Mark Wahlberg, and I have some exciting news to share. At Wahlburgers, we are all about bringing the family together to enjoy a great meal and have a great time. That's why right now, for a limited time, kids eat free every day at all Hy-Vee Wahlburger locations. Kids 12 and under can enjoy one free kids meal with any purchase of an adult burger, sandwich, or entree salad.
Bring the family to Wahlburgers and the Wahlburgers and Hy-Vee stores, where right now kids can eat free.
Now back to the Fight for Iowa podcast. Here's the voice of the Hawkeyes, Gary Dolphin.
Iowa's offense averaged 18 points and 95 rushing yards a game in 2022, near the bottom statistically in both areas. And while Coach Kirk Ferentz is more focused on points and turnover takeaways, he's well aware of the upset fan base and supporters, adding those numbers are not good enough. They own them and have gone to work to fix them, starting with the blocking up front.
You know, we weren't where we needed to be a year ago and felt the same way this year. I think we had I don't want to say suffered from, but we were forced to play some guys that probably weren't quite ready to compete at the level we're looking for. It's been part of what we've been battling a little bit. And the facts are that, you know, when you can't do things up front, kind of cascades to the entire offense. It's hard to run an offense when you can't block with proficiency. But the one thing I will say about our guys last year is I think they've worked extremely hard. I know they're being well coached. And they've had a high level of pride and seen improvement in both seasons. And you know, I think all you got to do right now is look at our situation last year. In my mind, a couple of things that stand out. You go back to the COVID class, you want to call it, our first-year guys 2 years ago, brought 6 guys in the class, and Connor Colby was really the only guy that could practice consistently. Unfortunately, he was here in the spring. He's the only guy that really went start to finish. We had an inordinate amount of medical issues to deal with. Basically, all 5 of the guys were affected pretty seriously, in my opinion. One of the 6, who we thought had a great future here, couldn't play due to medical reasons, and he's done with his career. So those things have factored in a little bit. I think about a guy like Cody Entz, who's a really good player, good prospect. chose not to come back for a 5th year, and that was tied into medical issues too. So, we've I think had some tough circumstances up there. But again, I just point to the way the guys have pushed forward, what they've done moving forward, fighting through some tough times. And I think right now they're poised to really turn the corner and do some good things, and excited about the 2 players with college experience, both Dejan and obviously Rusty joining our group. I think that's going to be, put us in a better position. So something we've tried to address, and I think we've got a healthy situation. Time will tell on that. Next thing you look at are the receiver position, and I would suggest to you right now, if you looked at us last spring, we were feeling pretty good about our group, quite frankly. Since that time, we experienced a transfer. One of our best players, if not our best receiver, transferred out. You had a guy who showed a lot the previous year as a true freshman who played 13 snaps last year. You have Brody Breck that we think is a really good prospect, but he's an unusual prospect. And we got a guy with Ben Keeter coming in, kind of a similar situation, a multi-sport athlete who's really good in both sports. And the bottom line is we didn't have Brody last spring. We didn't have him June, July, or August due to injury. So his practice really started basically our first game week. That was a factor, certainly. Think about 2 veterans who came in ended up with fractures at the start of the season, both Nico and Deontay, 2 guys that we have high aspirations for. So, you factor all that in. That really left Arlen, of our top 6, that left him to shoulder the load out there, if you will. Again, I think the guys that played did a good job, but, it was certainly a challenge. Tight end, we had one of the best tight ends in the country with Sam, and I think we all saw a guy really ascend, Luke Lachey, something we thought we saw in the recruiting process, and we really got to see it come to fruition last year. And especially ironically, when Sam was out, he really just kind of took over for him right now. So happy about that, certainly. Encouraged about Addison Estrenga, his development this year, and then getting Erick in the portal, just an extra benefit. So I feel like we got a really good situation there. Quarterback situation, I said this all year pretty consistently. I think Spencer's the guy we believed in, continue to believe in, and but I thought it was really a tough thing to do is evaluate our quarterback with all the moving pieces that we have. Certainly unfortunate that Spencer has suffered a tough injury. But, we feel good right now about Cade joining the program, Deacon joining the program, and just want to compliment Joe one more time for the job he did throughout the entire month of December. Really did a good job, and that game experience is really going to serve him well now as he starts to move forward. And I skipped over the running back position, but, thought we were pretty stable there. Of course, we had an injury. Gavin had an injury in camp, had mono during the summer. So the good news is at least 2 young guys emerged and did a good job with Caleb and LeSean. But you get the picture. There's a lot of challenges, a lot of moving parts with that group, and you can't predict the future, but I think we've done things to help ourselves moving forward, and now we got to do the hard work that's involved. Defensively, had a lot of guys play exceptional football. The group collectively played really well, and something I tried to point out to people in December. If you look at it, each group had veteran leadership at all 3 levels. Our defensive backs, you got a couple guys like Moss and Merriweather. The linebacker group, certainly with Seth and Jack. And then up front, had a good group of seniors there playing their best football, and it's great to get 2 of them back. But, you wonder why things work. That veteran leadership is just so important, that production, but also the leadership that those guys provide. And we'll have some work to do as we move forward in that group. But again, getting a couple guys up front back, that certainly is going to help us, and excited about that. Special teams, I thought we played well for the most part. Certainly played great in the bowl game. Torrey played as well as he's played for us, and it's great to have him and all of our specialists back. Great to find a kicker. Drew did an outstanding job, and Luke's done a great job snapping. When we met about our personnel 3 weeks ago as a staff and detailed everybody out, I think we have a lot of guys that can contribute and do a good job with our core special teams, and that's paramount for us being successful, just like building the offensive line.
Ferentz emphasized despite a 3-4 first half of the season, the Hawkeyes won 5 of their last 6 games, and that took great player leadership, adding he thought his staff did a great job under trying circumstances and therefore plans no personnel changes. The offensive rebuild begins with quarterback Kade McNamara. He's next on the Fight for Iowa podcast.
More of the Fight for Iowa podcast after this.
We all love a good win. Catching up with friends, saving money at the pump, soaking up the perfect Iowa day, sitting down to a really, really good meal. These are the everyday delights that make us smile. These are the moments that connect us all as Iowans. And these are the wins that, more often than not, start with Iowa's farm families and the crop they're growing. Because when corn grows Iowa, Iowans win. Learn more about how to share your own wins at iowacorn.org/IowansWin.
You don't have to go to the game to get a game program. You can download it now by visiting the game day page on HawkeyeSports.com. That's right, the game program is now digital and it's free. So check it out. Get the roster, the stats, and fascinating stories about today's matchup. Just go to HawkeyeSports.com and click on Game Day.
Oh, you know that old injury of yours? The one in your knee or maybe back? Instead of going to the doctor and then doing physical therapy, why not start with therapy first? Athletico Physical Therapy is changing the whole healing process around. Their physical therapists will find the source of your pain and help fix it. Start with them and start living pain-free. Just like that.
It all starts with Athletico Physical Therapy. Schedule your free assessment at athletico.com. No prescription needed. Proud partner of the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Now back to the Fight for Iowa podcast. Here's the voice of the Hawkeyes, Gary Dolphin.
Iowa's newest quarterback, Kade McNamara, is 6'1", 205 pounds. The Reno, Nevada native has 2 years of eligibility left. McNamara appeared in just 3 games last season at Michigan before knee surgery forced him to the sidelines for the remainder of the year. McNamara in 2021 threw for 2,600 yards, 15 touchdowns to 6 interceptions, a 64% pass completion ratio, and a 141.9 quarterback rating. And oh, by the way, he and the Wolverines beat Iowa in the Big Ten championship game. Iowa was the first to offer Will Levis before he committed to Penn State and finished his career at Kentucky. Levis could be a top 10 NFL draft pick come April. Coaches see similarities between Levis and McNamara, who settled in nicely in Iowa City and the Hawkeye program.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've basically been here for a month now and found my groove with the lifting and rehab and everything. So far it's been awesome.
In your meetings with Kirk Ferentz, the staff, and your future teammates, after all that, what were the deciding factors in your decision to join the Iowa program?
Well, first off, I had a really good relationship with Coach Budmeyer. He was my first Power 5 offer. And my brother, Jake, he was actually committed to him while he was at Colorado State. So once he came here, once I knew once I hit the portal, Coach Bud was the first person to call me. And he's known our family for years now. And he told me about the opportunity that we had here at Iowa. And a combination of that, and I think there's just really a lot of opportunity here. I think the Big Ten is obviously a conference that I'm very familiar with. And with the combination of the coaching staff, the opportunity and how they see I fit in this offense and this team is what sold me.
You're aware of the tough season for the Hawkeye offense, certainly the scrutiny and the criticism of coordinator Brian Ferentz. What in your visits, your talks with Brian, convinced you that this program was the right fit for you?
They really told me that I'm the difference maker, that, what I'm able to bring to the offense, what I'm able to bring to the team is what they believe is going to help us succeed. And with a combination of, a couple other guys, what we have on this team and the offense that they have a vision of running next season, they thought that I was fit for the job. And, that was really what sold me. And the confidence that Coach Ferentz, that Coach Brian and Coach Bud showed in me and my ability made me very confident with my decision.
And then, too, the Michigan and Iowa offensive philosophies aren't exactly the same, but there are similarities among the basics, aren't there?
Yeah, I think so. That, both teams want to establish a run game and both want to play physical football. But, two are very different programs, two really different offenses, as I'm learning here at Iowa. And I'm just super excited for the opportunity here.
You've also done some recruiting for the Hawkeyes. Your teammate and tight end at Michigan, Erick All, followed you to Iowa from Ann Arbor. Tell us about Erick as a player, Kade, a person. What kind of person is he, and what Hawk fans can expect to see with his talent?
Yeah, on the field, Erick is an extremely tremendous player. He's tough. he's willing to do everything he can to help the team win. And a combination of his mentality and his physical attributes make him a very special player. He has a huge catch radius, and he does really well in the run game as well. But off the field, he's a good dude. He's one of my best friends. He's just such a positive energy and just always has a smile on his face. And I'm super excited for him and his family. And he's got his little son, Houston, here now in Iowa City. And I know that he's had nothing but a great experience as well.
Kade, we're talking with Kade McNamara, Iowa's newest quarterback in the quarterback room. If you had to describe your skill set, your talents to Hawk fans who are seeing you for the first time, and some will this September, how would you describe yourself?
I would describe myself a confident player who's accurate. He can make all the decisions, and he's going to really take on a leadership role with the team. Something that you're going to expect from me is that I'm just going to do whatever it takes to win, whether it's playing hurt or however many completions it takes to win a football game. That is the most important thing in my mind. I really don't care how we do it as long as we get it done.
Yeah, having been in the Michigan program for a couple of years and being the competitor, obviously, that you are, it has to be thrilling knowing that every Midwestern fall Saturday at home or on the road, you'll be playing in storied stadiums before sellout crowds in the oldest, most storied conference in America. That must get the juices flowing, huh?
It does, definitely. I actually have never even played in Kinnick yet, so I can't even wait for our first game. And as you mentioned, playing in the Big Ten, I think that gives me a big confidence boost that the majority of the teams that we play next season, I've already won in those stadiums. So I love the Big Ten. I love the stadiums, and I love playing away games too. Honestly, I think there's just something a little special about playing away, but I also couldn't be more excited to have my first game in Kinnick.
Well, you'll like the noise a lot better in Kinnick versus coming in with a winged helmet on. I can promise you that. You have two brothers playing college football, Jake and Kyle. Jake is a quarterback. Kyle is a wide receiver for Texas El Paso, the Miners. I can only imagine you three have had some competitive backyard battles down through the years.
Yeah, we have. That's just a little charm to our relationships. My two brothers are my two best friends. I love them to death. And but growing up, it was sure fun. The three of us with the wiffle ball games, with football, really whatever we could possibly compete in, we did. And they're doing great down there in El Paso, and I get to see them soon, so I'm excited.
Spencer Petrus told me maybe a year or so ago, we were doing an interview with Spencer, and I asked him about how he found his way from San Francisco or the Bay Area to Iowa City. And he said he couldn't wait to get up early on Saturday morning with the 2-hour time difference, or 3 hours, whatever it was at the time, and in September, and flip on Big Ten football with the Big Ten Network, and of course all the major networks carrying Big Ten football. He was enamored with the 115,000 people at this stadium and 90 at the other. And he couldn't wait to watch Big Ten football on Saturday morning, and then he'd watch it all day or most of the day. You grew up in Nevada. Is there a similar story there, or you're just in general in love with college football?
Yeah, I'm a huge college football fan. It was my dream to play Power 5 football, really for as long as I could remember. And where I'm from, Reno, Nevada, it's not a very highly recruited area. So I always knew that my aspirations were probably going to take me somewhere else in the country. And really, I didn't really care how far or what location that was in the country while I was making my decision out of high school. And it took me to the Midwest. And so far, that is taking me to the Midwest again. And I just love really Big Ten football. I love how really the fans are into it as much as they are. And it just seems like we just take football just a little bit more seriously out here. And that is something that, intrigued me.
McNamara added there's no issue with his repaired knee. The rehab is on schedule, and he's progressing well. He looks forward to throwing to his new teammates and spring football come March. I'll be right back.
More of the Fight for Iowa podcast after this.
Knowing that I can make a difference in my patients' lives keeps me motivated every single day. Hi, I'm Dr. Kanya Ferguson at University of Iowa Healthcare. With academic medicine, we see the toughest cases, so we're always innovating. And we bring the best minds together to collaborate, so there's more brain power focused on you. Because that leads to exceptional care for our patients and our community. See how at uihc.org.
Hawkeye fans, join Rob Brooks and Lisa Bluter each week from 6 to 7 for Hawk Talk at Bumps Restaurant, presented by Oak Knoll. View the season schedule at HawkeyeSports.com.
Hey, Hawkeyes fans, the wait is over. The Iowa men's and women's basketball teams are back on the court, and Shields has everything you need to cheer on your favorite players all season long. Take your game day gear to the next level with Shields Fan Shop. We have an unmatched lineup of gear, including jerseys, hats, hoodies, and more to help you show off your team colors. So gear up, Hawkeyes fans, and celebrate all season with Shields, a proud partner of Iowa basketball and hoops fans everywhere.
Now back to the Fight for Iowa podcast. Here's the voice of the Hawkeyes, Gary Dolphin.
If quarterback Kade McNamara is to have similar success, Michigan to Iowa, the offensive line will need to keep him clean. The Hawkeyes have brought in a pair of seasoned veterans to help. Transfers Rusty Feth and Dejan Parker. Feth is a 6'5", 305-pound senior who started at guard and center for 4 years with the Red Hawks. Feth reunites with his former line coach, George Barnett. The Hawkeyes got Parker to flip from a Virginia commitment. Parker is 6'6", 300 pounds, and he projects as a tackle. Parker had 22 other offers while in the portal. That's this week's Fight for Iowa podcast. I'm Gary Dolphin. Go Hawks.
You've been listening to the Fight for Iowa podcast. Hawkeye fans, remember to hit the subscribe button on your favorite podcast app. Once you become a Fight for Iowa podcast subscriber, you'll automatically receive the latest episodes of the Fight for Iowa podcast, the Hawkeyes Voice podcast, Hawk Talk replays, exclusive game day content, and more. Until next time, on Iowa, and go Hawks! The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Hawkeye Sports Network.